Madam President,
The senator from Kansas.
I thank my colleague and my good friend from Arizona in enabling me to make a few remarks to address the nomination of Mr. Eric Fanning to serve as Secretary of the Army. I have pledged to the people of Kansas that I would do everything in my power to stop President Obama from moving terrorist detainees to Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. The senator from Arizona has certainly described the situation very well. It is the intellectual center of the Army. I believe today that I can tell Kansans that the threat from this administration will go unfulfilled. I believe that because of last week and a private meeting with Deputy Defense Secretary Robert Work, I received the assurances I needed to hear to release my hold on Mr. Fanning. Make no mistake, I think that President Obama's threat to act by executive order still remains. However, Secretary Work has assured me that as the individual charged with executing a movement of detainees to the mainland, he would be unable to fulfill such an order before the close of this administration. Practically speaking, the clock has run out for the president. As I have stated on this floor, and to my good friend and colleague, the distinguished senator from Arizona, my issue has never been, let me make that very clear, has never been with Mr. Fanning's character, his courage, or his capability. He will be a tremendous leader as Army Secretary and will do great by our soldiers at Fort Leavenworth, Fort Riley, and let me emphasize every soldier serving our nation today. I just talked to Mr. Fanning as of this afternoon, let him know I was releasing this hold, and good luck on his speech to the graduates of West Point. I look forward to voting for Mr. Fanning, who has always had my support for this position. So I'm happy to support his nomination today with these new assurances from the administration and from the chairman and ranking member of the Senate Armed Services Committee to work with me to strengthen provisions on funding for the transfer of detainees to the mainland in this year's National Defense Authorization Act. I have worked closely with Chairman McCain and Ranking Member Reed, and I look forward to completing work on an authorizing bill shortly. Additionally, the Senate Appropriations Committee is committed to prohibiting funding for construction or modification to any facility in the United States for the purpose of housing detainees in this year's MILCON funding bill currently on the floor. With the clock running down on the last months of the Obama administration, it is increasingly improbable that this administration can bring high-value terrorists and their associated risks to an American community like Leavenworth, Kansas. The bottom line is this: we have run out the clock, and Congress looks to prohibit this administration from moving detainees to the mainland at every turn. So as the Secretary of Defense and the Attorney General have testified before Congress, moving detainees to the mainland is prohibited by law and will remain so through the end of this president's term. I again want to thank my friend and my colleague, Senator McCain, for working with me to work this out. My congratulations to Secretary Eric Fanning, Army Secretary Eric Fanning, and I yield the floor.